Well, hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft. Welcome to our Wednesday night CNC Hangout, where I am coming on by myself. Sister Kate is on her way. Apparently, they were traveling and got stuck in some traffic when there was an accident. So it's just me and my little lonesome for a little bit until she gets online. Anyway, we've got some people to say hello to. First of all, this is our Wednesday evening hangout, CNC hangout, where we get to hang out together and chew some CNC fat and answer some questions. And so, first of all, let's say hi to some people. Of course, we got Ellen here. Ellen, you like popped a question in at 2 o'clock. She is on it. And I got you guys figured out now. As soon as you see that little thing, the stream coming in, the announcement, you get your question, or that's smart. I would say that for those of you who are watching on Facebook, it's always better to come over to the YouTube, IDC Woodcraft on YouTube, because that's where everybody seems to be talking to each other. These guys have been. I'm looking at the thread right now, the communication thread. You guys have been talking to each other for quite a while. Okay, Ellen, Doug, and we got Rob. Let's see. Who else we got? I see questions already. Ellen, boy, you've been dominating the very beginning of it. And we got Dale. Hello, Dale. And Mark. And who else? Got to scroll down. Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Pat Noel. And I said hi to Mark. We got Dwight. Hello, Dwight. And Oz, of course, Oz is going to be here. That Oz is like the stake in the ground. When he's here, this is complete. Of course, there's Jack and there's Tim too. So I see Tim right there. All right. What's going on there, Tim, brother? Richard and Chris and Jack. Oh, wait a minute. Jack. Oh, it's a different Jack. Okay. Wait a minute. No, that's the same Jack. Jack in a box. What's happened here? Nope, Jack in the shop. Okay, we have two different Jacks. I'm confused. There's Bart. My man. It is so good to see you back, brother. So good to see you back. And Wood and Tobacco Accessories. Scrolling on down. Chris. Dan. Hey, what's going on, Dan? And Jim. And Leo. Two Elm Builds. Hey, that's been a while. Dang. Been quite a while. And Rick, what is this? Rick. Okay, Rick Long. I can't pronounce your last name, brother. Rich. There's a Rich and a Jim. I said Jim. Carolyn. Yeah, Carolyn. Okay. Even though I got my eyes fixed, my eyes are still bugged out. I guess that's the way it goes. Benny. Hello, Benny. Reg. Julian. All right, Julian. Julian is a team member of IDC Woodcraft. She is the administrative coordinator now, and she is making sure your products get to you safely, and we got good quality control going on the back end. As all businesses go, as you grow, new problems always arise, and you need to get the right people in to help out. Shannon and Richard, and boy, it just goes on and on. Raven, Dion, what's going on, Dion? All right, we are going to move back. There's Gary, William, Chuck, Albert. Oh my gosh, so many names I haven't seen. All right, well let's dive in. I'm gonna start answering some questions until Kate gets here, and then you can answer questions for her. But one of the things I put in the description of this particular video, if you're on Facebook up above in the description, and in YouTube down below, is if you want to make signs or do epoxy. Kate has been making signs for a very long time, and so she has become quite the master at making signs. And she is getting well versed in epoxy pouring too. So if you want to throw some questions regarding that out there when she gets here, then you might want to throw that on her. I am not an epoxy guy. I haven't done it yet, but I am going to. All right, so we're at the top of the list, and I have one more announcement to make. I'll make this announcement again. Next week, we will not be here. I am going to be in Vancouver, Canada on a business trip, and I will not be available by phone. And my team will be monitoring the email, and if something needs to have my attention, they will certainly get it to me. So remember, next week we will not be here. All right, let's start off with Ellen. Right at the beginning, Ellen popped her question at 2:00 today. That was 6 hours ago. She gets excited about Wednesdays. Oh, wait a minute. Ellen, did you have a question there? Or maybe it wasn't a question. Okay, yes. There's she's telling somebody there's something called a clearance tool in the V-carve toolpath. You don't know if that helps any, but that's something to look into. Okay, so she was talking to Richard, and for some reason the timestamps aren't matching up on this. So Richard, I believe I saw your name. And so what a clearance toolpath is, it's a part of the Vectric software. We'll just cover this. Excuse me. It's part of the Vectric software in the toolpath area. When you're doing a pocket cutout, and a pocket is when you're clearing out area inside of a boundary. The clearance toolpath is where you can use other tools to rough out that material, and then you come in with smaller tools. So when I'm saying tools, I'm talking CNC router bits. We're going to share the screen once I bring a project in that has that on it. Yeah, we'll do this sign right here. And I'll see if I can create that real quick. So I got to share screen so you can see what I'm looking at. And feels odd when Kate is not here. Okay, so this is a project I made last week for Sarah, the lady I have been dating. And it's a sign for her garden, and it's Sarah's garden, living life in full bloom. She has a huge, huge flower garden. And so I'm going to create a rectangle. I actually need to create a new project to do this. So we're just going to create a new one, and I'm going to create a rectangle in that project. And so the rectangle is the area that we want to clear out. So sometimes we'll have details in the project that require smaller tools that like maybe you need an eighth inch diameter tool or a 16th inch diameter tool. And we can pretend that we want to get as sharp corners as we possibly can in this rectangle. Obviously, round tools cannot create sharp corners, but the smaller the diameter of the cutting tool, the finer the corner will get. So we want to remove as much material out of here as possible. Then we can come back in and finish it up with a smaller diameter bit. So I'm going to go to the pocket toolpath under toolpaths and bring that up. Now you'll notice in the tools area, it's a big white box. And right now there is only one router bit in there. So if we want to use a 16th inch end mill, and right now I've got the 1/4 inch end mill populated in there. But if we just need to do 16th inch end mill as the finish work, but we got all that rectangle to clear out, what we can do is populate multiple bits into this box here, and that will create clearance tools where we work from biggest to smallest. So if I hit the select, and I can come in and simply add another tool. So we'll go with the 16th inch diameter end mill. And you notice now I have 2 router bits populated in the tools box. What that's going to do when I actually calculate this out, it's going to create 2 separate tool paths. One for the 1/4 inch tool that's going to come in and clear out all this material. And then the 16th inch is going to come in and finish up what the 1/4 inch couldn't reach. So that 1/4 inch tool is considered a clearance tool in this case because it's going to clear out material. So hope that helped a little bit. Okay, we're going to stop sharing that and we're going to move on. And let's see, Doug, you're waiting to open open in 5 hours. I guess you're talking about this live here. So normally Kate's thumbing through these while one of us is talking, so it goes a little bit faster that way. And Ellen, you said you must not have a life because you're looking at the clock now at 4.5 still. Tick tock, waiting for tonight. Well, Ellen, I got to say that's a compliment to me and to Kate, by the way. Okay, so here's a good question from Rob. Do either of us use UGS as a controller? So, first of all, let's explain what UGS is. UGS is a software, it's called a control software, and it stands for Universal G Code Sender. And it is the software that you are actually running your CNC router with. So, when you design something and you create tool paths, you create the G code. That G code gets imported into UGS, and then you can run your CNC router from that. Now, I used to use UGS when I first got into CNC routers like 3 years ago. I found it clunky and out of date as far as a Windows platform is, and it's also a bit challenging to set up. So when Longmill came out with G-Sender, it was very hands down go to that. G-Sender is the same thing as UGS, except it is much, much more user friendly and it is up to date. UGS is very much out of date. I would go to the Longmill website and do a search for G-Sender, or go to Google and do a search for G-Sender. And when you get that, you click the whatever Google comes up with. I would do G-Sender download. You'll come to Longmill's page where you can download that. And I would download that, and then I would run your stuff through that. G-Sender will only work with CNC routers that have the Arduino-based controller. So most of your benchtop CNC routers have the Arduino controller. Some that cannot would be like the Shark and the Onefinity will not work with G-Sender. But Longmill, Shapeoko, Open Build, some of those will use G-Sender. So I would suggest that you switch over to G-Sender, because UGS is going out the window. People are using it less and less, and they're switching over to G-Sender. All right, so because I haven't used it in so long, I can't really give you guidance on that. All right, Ellen. Boy, Ellen, you've been doing a lot of talking. Okay, so we have one from Dale here. You're having a problem. All your work goes to G-Sender, and then it all carves backwards. I don't know why. Any ideas? Even the spoil board you get from me works in reverse. So what I'm suspecting is G-Sender. It's a setting in G-Sender. Oh, here comes Kate. Okay, hi Kate. Let's make sure she.
How's it going?
Okay. There she is. Sister's back. All right, good to see you.
I've been running around like a crazy person.
Right. Okay. I'm going to talk about G-Sender a little bit. So Dale, he's running his projects and everything runs backwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good,
So
good
and
question.
he uses G-Sender. So I'm going to switch to G-Sender and see if I can find this.
All right.
Where you fix that. What you have to do is tell G-Sender if it's happening backwards in your X direction, then you just have to go into the control of G-Sender, the settings, and change that. It's either the firmware or the settings. So can you see G-Sender right now, Kate?
I can, yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to click into firmware, and you have a bunch of toggles here. And I'm going to find the one for the X and Y direction. Okay, here it is. Number 3, step direction invert. So if your X is going the wrong way, then come to this number 3 and switch X direction invert. Switch that toggle the other way, and then you'll come down and click the apply settings button, and that will change it for you. And then it'll run. Then what that'll do is that'll flip flop your plus and minus directions. If it's going backwards in Y, then you want to try that. So before you carve, what you want to do is create a simple project like a very simple thing, like a line that you know what direction it should go in, and create a program from that, and then test these different toggle settings to see which one it is, and that will solve your problem.
Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I'm at 6:44, Kate. The minute I posted this thing, Ellen asked a question, and Ellen has posted too. She said she's been sitting there twiddling her thumbs, waiting for our live to start.
Oh my goodness.
She,
She's
she,
awesome though. She's
yes,
on it, man. I'm telling you what, there's not a day she is not hustling and doing everything that she needs to be doing. So
yeah.
she's doing a good
Okay,
job.
right. Here's a good one. Mark has let everybody know that Vectric version 11.5.5, it's an update, has now been released today. So you need to
Yes.
update your software. I didn't know that. I think I'm still running on 501. I better get that fixed.
Oh yeah. I saw they had on their Vectric YouTube channel, they actually released a video showing what all was included in the update.
Okay. So most of the updates that they do, there are patches that whenever a company writes software, there's always little things that don't work right. It's just a gimme, and so they have to update it. And I've got a video that shows you how to do that. If nobody is, if for any creator who has not updated their Vectric software, doesn't
Yeah,
matter what version you have, you want to do a search for a video how to update Vectric, right? Vectric does
right.
not auto update its software. We have to manually tell it to update.
Nope.
So search for
No,
a
it does
video
not.
that says auto update. Again, I'm going to remind everybody we will not be here next week.
Yep.
So,
We are
yep,
taking one Wednesday.
right.
So where are you in the comments? Because for some weird reason, I can only see up to like 757, and then it's like I can see from there on, but anything before that is not there for me.
Okay, I'm still beforehand. I'm like at 7:10, so I'm just kind of scrolling down.
Okay.
Uh, okay. We got Daniel from the UK. Love having people from across the world. You know, it's so good that the borders come down. You know, with the world of the
Yes.
internet, right? This is when we realize, you know, in the days of old, when we used to, oh, you know, they're from some other country, they're different, they're less than us. You know, and we're in a world now.
No.
Everybody's the same. We all have the same desires. We all want to get somewhere, and we all want to do something and make an impact, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So
okay,
if
I
you guys
got.
see me looking down at my phone, I'm actually on the YouTube on my phone, and that's where I was like trying to get the comments to come
That's
up.
funny.
So if you see me glancing down, I'm not like being rude. I'm actually trying to like look and see if your questions are there.
Okay, well, I'm at 722 right now, and Ellen
Okay.
has another one. Question for tonight: what are the best cut depth for epoxy? Kate, this is your question, sister. How do you prep it before you pour? After it's all, oh boy, she's dumping this on you, isn't she? After it's all done and ready to go and sanded down, how do you make it shiny like glass? Okay, so tackle the first one. What is the
Okay.
best cut depth for epoxy?
So right off the bat, there are different levels of epoxy. So you have your tabletop epoxy, which can usually pour up to about an eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch pour. Um, and if you're doing smaller projects, those will be just fine. If you're doing a deep pour, usually want to do like 2 to 4 inches, something like that. Now, as far as the cut depth on a project, I see a lot of people doing like a quarter of an inch or, well, not a quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch. And personally, that is too shallow. Just because if you're going to have to do any type of surfacing or sanding, you run the risk of just almost taking it off, especially if you have like a V carve or an area like that that you've um, carved, you'll run the risk of just surfacing that straight off of it. So I would recommend a minimum depth at a quarter of an inch or deeper. Sometimes you know, you can go just a smidge deeper than a quarter of an inch, but really that's where you want to go. Sorry, my cat just jumped on me. Um, but as far, where you pop the question back up, there were a couple other questions. What is the bet? Uh, how do you prep it before you pour? Okay, so this is kind of a loaded question, I'll be really honest. So it depends on the type of wood that you're using. If you're using a like a birch wood or um, any type of light colored wood, you want to use your sanding sealer after you carve it, because what will happen is the epoxy will bleed and it'll run into the grain. So you really want to seal the grain before you pour any type of a dark or any type of colored epoxy for that matter. I did a video on a flag on YouTube where I actually like did a layer of epoxy, and I don't know what I was thinking, but it just created a lot of issues for me. So I wound up going back to what I know, which was using the sanding sealer product, sealing the birch wood, letting that dry really good, and then I poured in like a black, like deep dark black pigment, and I had no bleeding whatsoever. So that's kind of how I prepped the material. Um, Obviously, surfacing is huge. You always want to surface your project, because the number one thing you'll have with epoxy is if the surface is not level, then the epoxy will just pour over and then you just have a lot of really wasted products. So you want to be very aware that your piece is level, and then also what you're putting it on before you pour is level as well. So those are a couple big things. And then it says, after it is all done and ready to get sanded down, how do you make it shiny like glass? This is the extra fun part every woodworker loves to hear. It is the sanding. It's all in the sanding. I will start out roughly at about 180 degree, 180 degree, 180 grit sandpaper, and then you work your way up there. I have all of the different sandpapers. You can actually, once you get done with like the dry sandings, so let's say I start at 180, I'll work up to 220. And usually I'll try to go through the grits by 20 or 30 increments. And then once I get to about 320, I'll work up to a wet dry sandpaper at about 400, and then usually about 500, 600, 650, somewhere in there. And then I usually will go all the way up to about sometimes almost as high as 3,000. So it is a lot of sanding. And the main thing with the sanding is you want to go back and forth, and then you want to go across. So obviously the smaller the project, the easier the sanding is going to be. The bigger the project, the more you are really working your arm muscles back and forth. And I usually spend about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes per on each, like going. So if it's, if I'm running, let's say on the y-axis, I'm running back and forth, I'll spend a good 10 minutes going that way, and then a good 10 minutes, going on like the x-axis, if you will, sanding. So it's getting that glass smooth finish it's a lot of work. It's not as easy as everybody like makes it look to be on Instagram. You just pour it and it's so beautiful and it's done. It's really it's not that easy, especially if you're making like river tables, or you're pouring if you're pouring in a mold, it's different. But you still have that little bit of a lip on like a silicone mold, or even on a like the I can't remember if it's Ahani Artesians or something like that. It's the Just Crow molds. You're still going to have a little bit of a lip, so you still have to sand. They're a lot of work.
Do you wet sand?
I do. I do. I really the wet sanding is what really gives you that high gloss finish. It's messy, but you get what you put into it. So
Right. And do you use any polishing compound when you're done? Like
um usually when I do the wet sanding on my bigger projects, I don't. So like let's say I put a just like a table coat, like say like those big fire dancers that I make, right? I'll put a table gloss over the top of those, but then it drips all over the side. So then I have to flip it over. I have to sand everything. And then I actually use a buffing compound and like my Milwaukee buffer. and I will buff it with a compound.
Okay.
So.
Okay, there we go.
A lot of things.
Yes, yeah.
Good question. Loaded question, but good questions.
Yeah, yeah. And anybody else that has techniques that they use that's any different, of course, put it in the comments. Ellen is on YouTube, so do it in YouTube. All right, so here's another one. I don't think I can answer this one. From Dwight. What is the easiest way to even all heights out the heights of two or more STLs so they are at the same plane? So I think what he's talking about here is making sure the top of each one 3D model or STL that you're putting in the project is the same. So
I can actually answer this.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Go ahead. What were you going to say, though? I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything because I actually never tried to do that.
Oh, okay.
I just made sure it never got to over the top of the wood.
Yeah. So what I typically do is I will do the function. It's called multiply. So let's say you're like in a dish in Vectric, right? So you're working in that concave format, and you want to make sure that your STL is, basically the creating a zero plane and the work surface are telling the two how to communicate together. So when you use that multiply function, basically what it does is it creates the STL and the dish that you're working with, and it tells the two to become one level on one level plane. So on the very top of like where you have your like whatever is your like whether it's a dish or a dome or whatever it is, you need to click on that particular layer and then right click, and it'll come up with like add, subtract, multiply, and you'll go to multiply, and then it'll highlight the two lower boxes, and then you'll multiply it. But before you multiply, you'll want to you need to duplicate the layers. And I was actually just shooting a video on this. I shot the video yesterday, but because I was a dum-dum and wasn't really focused, like I was so focused on what I was doing, I actually recorded the entire 40-minute video, 40 minutes of training with the file module like screened up. So like everything I was doing was just a wash. So I was like,
welcome to the world of videos, making videos. You brothers,
I wanted to strangle myself.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, you have no idea if you have not actually sat down and made a video what it takes to actually create a video. It's insane. That's very tedious.
So
yeah,
you sound kind of far away again.
Do I? 1, 2. It's switching on me again, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Oh, is this any better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I'll just have to keep my mouth right on top of the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, anyway, Richard said you received your bits today. Ordered 2 more today. Excellent. And I'm sure you got your M&Ms with your bits, right? So anytime you order bits or M&Ms, you always get a bit with your M&M order from IDC Woodcraft.
Yes, absolutely.
Jack, he's got his 30 by 48 working. Yay, Jack. Excellent. Yeah, finally got it working. So when I first saw this is Jack's last name is very close to Jack in a Box's last name.
Oh,
so when I first saw it, I thought that was Jack in a Box, but it's not. Different Jack.
Okay.
Different Jack. Okay, so I'm now at 7:43, trying to work through this.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull mine up here.
Okay. So Jack also said he found out he was using a TAP file instead of a G-code file. So he had a program. If this is the same one, it was having some errors in it.
Oh gosh.
Well, it wasn't reading properly. If you're using GSender, then GSender doesn't look at TAP files. You won't see it.
Okay. I don't.
I think Chris is from down under, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Chris.
I was looking at the comments, but I can't see any. There's no timestamps.
So, okay. Yep. Okay. You can't see timestamps at all, huh?
Well, I can on my laptop on my
We're just getting
on
to
the
where you're
phone. I
at.
cannot.
I'm now looking at 7:48, and Chris. So he's saying he doesn't advertise. Must be talking to somebody else. The crosstalk, which is awesome. I'm so glad you guys
Yes.
talk to each other. Just word of mouth for people you see what do carves. Um, so one way to get business, and I've seen this from many creators, is they get their business through word of mouth. But the
Hmm.
first thing you got to do in order to make that happen is just get your stuff out there.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you see any questions?
So the first comment I see is from Raven at 7:57, but like I said before that, I can't see. For some reason, it's
Okay.
not showing me
I'm
everything.
going to run up to there unless I see a question.
Okay.
Um, Wait a minute. Um, oh, Jack. I'm sorry. Benny A has made a stack text sign.
Oh, very cool. I love stack
Gary
text.
said,
It's neat.
Gary said he wasn't trying to be an early bird. Just um, we got Reg from Illinois, not too far away.
Yeah, not far at all.
All right. Okay. Looks like everybody's saying hello at that point. So, Chris is talking to Julian. Okay, good. So Julian has popped on.
Very nice. Well, hi, welcome back, dear. Hope
Okay.
was it her first week or second week there now?
She's in week 4.
Week
In
4.
week
Wow, how did
4,
I miss
and
that?
taking total command. It's like, get out of here, get out of my place. Those guys, she and Liberty have got it going on.
Good. I love it.
Yeah, I remember a couple weeks ago when I walked in there, and I said, "What the hell happened?" They totally rearranged the place. And this is getting everything in flow.
Yes.
Been a bit getting things set up as an expanding company. Like now, I have to get like computers and everything under a network now, and
Oh,
create
yeah.
access to certain people and stuff. So it's going to the next level. And I tell you, when you do that, it takes a bite in the budget, but
Yes.
it's all for the long term. Okay, where are you at? We got a Facebook
Okay,
user
so
who said good evening. I think this is the first Facebook I have seen.
oh
So
man.
for anyone who's on Facebook, you will have many more people if you go to the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel, watch the live there. You can
Yep.
dialogue with most of the people there.
Yep,
Do you have any
absolutely.
announcements, Kate? Do you have any announcements before we go on any questions here?
Yeah, so over on womenwhocnc.com, I am working kind of in the shadows, if you will. I'm trying to compile on a Word document, if you will, all of the stories and journeys of the women who CNC out of our Facebook group. I posted a while back. I need to kind of recomment to keep that thread at the top of the feed. But basically, any women that are in the Women Who CNC group on Facebook, comment. Tell me a little bit about your journey. Tell me about you. Maybe post a picture of you, or if you're not comfortable with that, post a picture of some of the projects that you've done. Because over on the website, I am creating a space that is going to tell all about the makers and um, all the different women, and so we can kind of connect and do all kinds of stuff. We're also going to be putting every Thursday morning at 11, I do a live. So if there's any women in here that have questions that didn't get answered, I do a live, and we basically tackle all of the questions that didn't get answered here. So want to make sure I'm showing up for my ladies as well. And yeah, so those are going to be getting integrated on the website. It's, there's a lot happening, but as you all know, if you've ever spent any time trying to build a website, it is, you do this and then you're like, oh, I need to do this, 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 and this. And then, oh, then I got to do this. And then I got to go. It's like one step forward, 5 steps back. So before you can hit publish, and you're just like, okay, here we go. Just
Yeah.
keep,
For anybody who has been here for any length of time to know that this whole channel, this whole Wednesday night thing started with uh, Kate allowing herself to be public while we were mentoring.
Yeah.
and her trying to find the direction to go in business. And so we spent 10 Wednesday nights
Yep.
doing it. And Kate
Yep.
found the time.
Live. Me like bearing my soul in all of my emotions and ups and downs and struggles on social platforms and business platforms, the do's, the don'ts, the mindset, the psychology, you know, really growing. And that's how this Women Who CNC came out of that, because I was a sign maker and I was loving what I was doing, but I was struggling. So, you know, when I had this he became a close friend and a mentor, and that's how this Wednesday night live started. So it's kind of a neat journey. So if you don't know like what Garrett's all about, other than just, a bit company, there's so many more layers. He's like an onion and just kind of peeling back like a layer at a time to get into all of the really deep business like mindset that he has, and that's what makes him so incredibly successful. And that's what he's doing with me. He's pushing me to these new levels that I was not comfortable with. In those first 10 episodes, I really had to grow and let go of a lot of things. So go check them out if you haven't done that. So
Yeah, yeah. All right.
oh
So we got a
goodness.
Facebook user, and so anyone on Facebook that's watching this, and you want to comment, and you're okay with us seeing your name, there's a little like button right below the feed where it allows you to see us, allows us to see who you are. It's
Yeah.
giving Facebook permission to show yourself publicly. So, what bit do you recommend to do 1/4 inch stacked layered files? Down cut, I assume. So, I'm assuming this is stacked, like a stacked text type of file. Um,
I don't think it's I mean, you might be on the right track. When I see stacked layered files, I'm thinking more like laser cuts. Like, if you make like a big star
oh,
and then you have a smaller one and like they stack on
yeah.
top of one another. That's what I'm reading into this.
Okay.
Um, I think it really depends on the material you're using. I personally, if you're using, I'm going to assume you're using some type of a pressed ply. I personally would use a downcut bit, just because you're going to have, if you use an upcut bit, that's going to be fraying the top surface, and that's not something that you're going to want.
Yeah, that
Um,
or a compression bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and also the size of if it's something what Kate just said, the size of the cutout, right? The smaller the cutout, the smaller the bit you're going to need,
Hmm.
or the finer the details is a better way of putting it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So where are you at in the comments?
I am at 802, right at Tim
Okay.
Costella from Oklahoma City. Willow Creek Studios here. Good afternoon. Got
All
Paul.
right.
Hi everyone. Hey Garrett. Hi Paul. JB Leonard on Facebook. Hello. Raul. Hello. I'm at 803.
All
Hey,
right.
Mark
Oh, I see
Lindsay's on
Mark.
board.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see Mark.
So y'all, hey y'all, the famous Mark Lindsay's with us. He's in the YouTube end. So
Evening, y'all. I
if you
love.
want to be honored with his presence, just pop on over there. What do you got? Are you honored with his presence here?
I
When
know it.
every time I say it, Mark wants to slap us. Mark is the humblest man on the planet. I tell you what,
Yeah,
such a good guy. Um,
he
and
really is. He
when
really
I
is.
come back from Mark, by the way, when I come back from Vancouver, which I'm going next week, we'll get in touch with you and we'll get you back on here.
Yeah,
Come visit us live again. So much fun to have Mark on board.
yeah. Okay, so I see at 8:06, Marty had a good question about selling on different platforms.
806 from Marty. Okay.
You got it. So he says,
Just
I
want
was just wondering, how do I sell my work? Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, or locally? You want to tackle this one?
uh, yeah. So that's a really, really broad spectrum, but it's a good question because one that everybody has.
Yep.
So first of all, the first thing to do is to understand what each platform is good for. All right, Etsy is a craft place where most people go to, and just
Mhm.
on that note, most people go to it, right? So it's not just you. You when you're on Etsy, you are with everybody else. So you're in amidst all the competition you can possibly be among. If you're
Yep.
going to post on Etsy, you have to understand the important thing is to make sure you stand out. Your images need to be exceptional. One of
Yes.
the things when it comes to business, pictures are everything, and
Yep.
many people don't think about this, but pictures are vital. If you what you need to do is look at your competition and pay attention to the images in Etsy if you're going to go there, and
Absolutely.
you want yours to stand out from there. All right, so
Hmm.
you're looking for what everybody's doing. You do something different. One of the things I always find that makes a huge difference in any pictures, and it doesn't matter any of these platforms, is if you have some kind of human presence in the picture. If you have a hand, or you're showing a face, or if
Yep.
you're showing faces, you show smiley faces. If you're showing some kind of action, right? But if you're showing people, that helps. And also the background. The background is important. We don't, most people don't think about the background, but the background is setting the psychological element in your mind of the
Yes.
level of quality of the project and the worth of it, right? And it's
Yeah.
also going to speak to the people that you're trying to market to, or use the
Yep.
word try. The people you have learned how you need to market to. See that? I catch myself every time when I use a word like that. Try, maybe.
I
But
will give you a couple of quick tips when I was doing my stuff on Etsy, especially when I did my DIY sign kits. So I bought a big piece of like, I don't know, like half-inch birch ply, and basically I took my CNC router and I like drilled some like, or not drilled, I like basically ran like a small straight line and made it look like shiplap, and then I painted it all white, and then I would put my items on there, and basically what you need to do is get a ladder and then stand like on top of your project so you're looking straight down on the project, especially because like a lot of us have bigger things that we're trying to sell, or maybe it has like, you want different angles. You don't want to just have like one straight on angle. Like you want to turn it, you want to flip it, you want to like open the lid and like turn it, like show the hinges, because people want to see what color the hinges are. They want to see all the different angles. It's just like if you were to go online and look at something, you would want to see the product in a 360-degree um, view. So make sure, like I think Etsy allows you to have 10 photos. Use all 10 photos. They have a small like 1-minute video option. Use that video option. Like, hold it, look at it, like close it, and turn it over, show the wood grain, like whatever you're trying to feature about the product, make sure you're showcasing that. Because the videos, think about it like that. Why do you think reels have become so popular on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere? Because it's almost like pictures are dead anymore. Like, unless it's people want to look at the products, they want to see the process of what you're doing and how you're making it. And that's what is making products sell anymore, because they're like, oh, wow, I can like look at it, like I can watch a video of it. It's more mesmerizing, if you will.
that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So with Etsy, you're going to be among other people. You got to stand out. And what came to me is I have seen many Etsy pictures where people will make a sign or something. They lay it on the grass and they take pictures of it, or it'll
Mhm.
be in the corner of on the floor, leaning against the wall. All right. Those are pathetic pictures, and they don't do very well. Facebook Marketplace
Yeah.
is good because it's local. It's
Mhm.
kind of hit or miss because it's really more what people are looking for. And so
Yeah.
I haven't used Marketplace, but I know when I do use it, I'm looking for something specific
Yeah.
or
The
general
other
specific.
Yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
other big thing with Facebook Marketplace, it's almost the exact same mirror image, like wherever you're trying to sell. So it's going to sound really stupid, but like I just sold a whole bedroom suit on Facebook Marketplace, and I don't just say queen size bed, whatever. I'm like, I like zhuzh up the title to make it like really pop and stand out because the title is what people are searching for. What are the key words that people are searching for?
Mhm.
Queen size bed, bedroom suite. Like think about it. Like what would you use? Type in Google like queen size bedroom, and then like the 82 keywords that come up with that. Integrate those words into your title, and that's what's going to get you um, good rankings.
Yeah. Keywords are everything. Think about how
Mhm.
you try to find something online. You're typing in certain words. So you need to look at it from the perspective, no matter what platform you use, you've got to think from the perspective of what they are typing in. Everything
Yep.
online is based on what people are typing in. So you have to think about that. That's called SEO, search engine optimization. People are
Yep.
searching for stuff. The search engines, YouTube, Google, Bing, all of them are
All of them.
using those terms to go find products or whatever the person is looking for. All right, so
Yep.
locally is you are starting to tie your hands a little bit. There's a couple things you can do in locally. One is you
Yep.
can set up at craft shows and what have you. At that point, you are selling your time. You have to make time to be there, right? And
Yes.
that's the least best way to make money in your business. And when you're selling your time, when you have to be present waiting for customers to come to you. This is why the
Yep.
online world is the way to go, because you can be set up properly, then you just wait for them to come to you. I will be out having dinner with Sarah, and on my phone another router bit order has come in because I've set myself up properly that I can be out doing stuff and doing my thing, and the business is still generating business.
Yep.
Locally, one of the other local things is if you connect with stores, right, and make product through stores, then you can make it in batch and get it out there.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's tackle some more of these questions because every time I look at this little uh the comment bar, it's literally goes like this. I mean, it
It's
just gets like
yeah,
so tiny.
yeah, it's insane. We it's getting harder and harder for Kate and I to handle all these questions, but we are going to do our best to do that. So
Yeah. So a
every
good
time.
a good question on your long mail I see from Ben W37 at 807. He's asking if you have a maintenance schedule you keep for your long mill.
Yeah. So with the long mill, generally it's about once every other month. I go in there and just make sure all the bolts are tightened up, and I'll put a little like a 3-in-1 oil on the threads. Although there's a dry lube that you can use, that's probably better to use. Um, I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's like a carbon based dry lube, and you just run it on there, and it's carbon is very. So, yeah, about once every 2 months, just go in and make sure all your bolts are tight and your rollers are clamped down still.
Yeah. Okay, so Barbara Johnson at 807, she's asking about making inlays.
Okay, Barbara, is Barbara in your ladies group?
I don't I'm not sure.
No?
So we have another big announcement with the Women Who CNC Facebook group. Ellen Wicker, also known as Madra here on the YouTube platform, she has actually, I have asked her to be a moderator, and within the group, she has been really, really instrumental in just communicating with me and talking with me about different things. So normally I get to see all of our new members. I do have a new member post, so I try to make sure that I'm looking at new names coming in. But I've just been so exceptionally busy trying to kind of on the back end trying to handle things. So she has been taking over approving women. So Barbara, I apologize if I haven't seen your name right up front. But if you have not joined the Facebook group for Women Who CNC, head over to Facebook and join that group. We'll get you in. But anyhow, Ellen is helping with my approval requests and
Yeah.
things like
You
that
know
and
what?
Facebook admin.
So in Kate's defense, ID's CNC entrepreneurs has 34,000 people in it. There's no way I can tell everybody that's in that group. It just when you're building a business, you can't be on that, and you have to start to rely on other people to help you
Yeah.
out. And they come out of the woodwork when they resonate with you, and that's what Ellen has done. And I've seen Ellen quite a bit in Facebook.
Yeah, she's
Just
been
up
showing
and
up
around.
quite
Ellen is
frequently.
one of those up and comings that's going to be a person who's going to be standing out quite a bit in the near future.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
inlay pieces.
All right. Making inlays. When you've made the two pieces together, how much space should there be between the male and female pieces?
So
This is
I
all
got a
you.
video. Yeah, I got a video I did at how to make it the perfect inlay. The spacing that is left based on the numbers that I use is point point oh two,
Okay,
0.02 of an inch, and
there you go.
but I always fill it with glue. I
Yeah,
don't just like dab around the edges. I fill the whole thing with glue, so everything that gap is supported and it becomes solid underneath it.
yep. You
So
got it. You got
do
it.
do a search for a video called "How to Make a Perfect Inlay," and use the numbers that are in that. I've got it down in the description with the numbers to use. Mark Lindsay did a video on how to do an inlay too, and if I remember right, it was the compass rose he did it on, and he ran that through Vectric as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of them out there.
All right. I'm just scrolling down here. We've got a lot of really good people. I just want to say hey to everyone
Hey
who's
all,
joined. Hey all.
yeah, we're seeing
What is
names. We have to kind of sometimes pass by some of the new names because there's so many comments here. It's we're
yeah.
trying to get to everybody.
Do
Jimbo,
do.
Jimbo.
Okay, so I see something at 8:13 from Bart. He is asking about epoxy, but I can't really see the full question. Maybe if you click on it, it'll like pull up the full question.
Okay, got it. Okay, there's a couple more questions from G Sender, which I'm going to answer as well. So,
Okay. So Bart says, when you put epoxy into the wood, it becomes the wood. Be epoxy, my friend. Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
that is one way to look at it. It sounds like who's the karate guy back in the 60s, the famous karate guy? Well, darn it, I don't remember, but he talked like that.
Oh,
Be
like Karate Kid.
no, it's not Karate
No,
Kid. No,
was that
this
you?
guy. It'll come to me.
Bart probably knows who
Anyway,
you're talking about.
yeah, but he says, "Be like water." When you pour it in the pot, the water becomes the pot. When you pour it in something else, becomes be epoxy, my friend.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Okay, so here's a question, Andy. Have I used a game controller with G Sender? I did for a little bit, but I stopped using it. I think it's more because of the game controller that I had bought. It was a little cheesy thing, but I got one better for you. G Sender, you can run it from your cell phone. I did a video that tells you how to do that, and it's the best thing since sliced bread. So on my phone, as long as it's turned on your computer and you follow those instructions, you can bring it up on your phone, and you can run your machine from your phone. So you'll have your phone right at your machine, and you can bump it around, do whatever you need to do. You can
Yep.
literally you are literally looking at G Sender on your phone.
Yeah, I
So
think Onefinity came out with something like that for their controllers as well. So, but I do personally, I have like a little joystick controller. It's actually an Xbox controller, and that's what I run mine on. So,
gotcha.
yep. So hey Richard, welcome back, brother. It says, question, can an extra second pass be programmed in V-carve toolpath when engraving with a 60-degree bit for sign work? Can a second pass be programmed in V-carve toolpath? I
So
think I know
I'm
what he's
guessing.
saying.
I I think he's saying, can you run over the same toolpath again? the same path to like maybe do a cleanup. What are you
Yeah.
thinking? That is,
I mean, I don't see why not.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
can definitely program it if you go ahead.
no, I was going to say there's two things you can do. If this is the case, then one thing you can do is rerun the program. But if it's a long program, the way you can reduce the amount of time for the second pass is duplicate the tool path,
Mhm.
and then increase the depth of cut for the tool so it only has one pass.
That's what I was gonna say, like, make the tool path, like, the very last thing that you do, set it for the full depth, and then rerun it.
Right.
Like, absolutely. Do that
Oh,
all the time.
right. There you go, Kate.
So, Jen, I recommend at least a quarter of an inch. An eighth of an inch is just really shallow. And especially if you're going to do any type of surfacing, sometimes when you surface, you may go just down just a little bit too low, especially if your workpiece hasn't been surfaced and it's not 100% level. And then you go to surface it off. Sometimes you'll wind up just taking off a little bit too much. So I always recommend at least a quarter of an inch at a minimum. And then most like tabletop epoxies, things like that, just generic epoxy that's not deep pour, you can pour up to a quarter of an inch with just standard epoxy. So
Right. So,
there you go.
Kate, this is a question to take note of. You're getting quite a few epoxy questions, right? So,
Yep.
um, take note of them because,
Let me write that down.
yep, yep, because all these questions are questions other people are thinking as well. So, one of the things that I've told Kate in our mentoring is right. Any question that people ask is data, right? This is what, since she's gonna becoming a content creator, she's building stuff to help you. Every time we get a question, this is a question that other people ask. Okay, this is data for her to know what to do. Right. That's why
Yep.
I built this right here. This is
Oh,
the
yes.
the IDC Woodcraft CNC router bit Kickstarter guide for beginners. So if you're brand new to CNC routers and you got your machine, right? This is a 27-page PDF that has all kinds of information for you: terminology, terms, types of bits, what they're used for, um, all the stuff you need to consider. And I'm still adding to this thing. So if you're brand new to CNC and you're still kind of lost, you might want to get this. It's linked in this Facebook up above. It says get the Kickstarter guide, and down below in the YouTube description, you can get that there as well. Make sure you check out the links. Anyway, the information, because there's contact information for me. Kate does one-on-ones with Vectric, so if you want to
Yep.
schedule some time with her, that's how you can get hold of her and schedule that.
Yep.
Yeah. E- uh, Even I, and what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, this, and then Kate's starting the Women Who CNC. If you want to be in women, if you're a woman creator, she has a group just for women. It's called Women Who CNC. It's a Facebook group. All right.
Yep.
So if you are a female creator and you want to get among other women, and then she's
Yeah.
there,
Come and join us.
and now she's Ellen Wicker is the person that's helping her out.
We've got a moderator.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm adding
Ellen's helped
another
us out.
moderator to CNC entrepreneurs. Yeah, and then join CNC entrepreneurs. Right.
Yeah.
I've got
Absolutely.
I've got a couple of special announcements that are going to be coming up shortly. I'm working on like 3 different things right now. That's resources, tools for other people. I'm also getting ready to expand the router bit line to half-inch tooling. And guess what? I have been asked many times: is there a beast, a 1/8 diameter beast? Well,
Oh.
my friends, I am now waiting for my tool maker. We have dialogued, we have designed it up. And they are now sending me samples for a 1/8 beast. What I don't know yet is if it works, right? I
Wow.
always test bits first and I push
Yep.
them to their limits, because if a bit will not handle what need it, what I expect it to handle, I won't put it on the market.
Yep.
Um, because I don't want to put stuff that's going to not work for you.
Yeah,
But the
it is
only thing I
yours.
don't know if it works is what to call it. Right? Some people said you can call it Son of Beast, right? But that's too long of a name.
I love it. Son of Beast, the mini
Right.
beast. I
Yeah.
don't know.
The badger, or it's got to be some small animal, a small badass animal.
You know
And
what? Well, that's what my husband's company's name is that he works for. It's called, well, it was used to be Badger Daylighting, but they're a hydro non-destructive excavating company, but now they're Badger Infrastructure. But
okay,
it's a badger. It's got a bat like a picture of a badger on the front on the side of their truck. So
right. I know what I'll call it. The little badass. There we go.
there you go.
Also, I am bringing in some long half inch. I told you that, but a long uh, beast type of bit, half inch.
Nice. You know,
So,
honestly, I think that would be really incredible. Now, I don't know if it would be able to handle it, but I'm getting ready to release a video on Instagram probably tonight, maybe possibly up to YouTube. Um, but basically, I made a huge bowl. It's an epoxy project. I can actually grab it. But the bowl is the wood I cut was out of a big chunk of um, maple that I had, and it's about 2.5 inches thick, and I used to use the long bits to cut down. But my God, I'm going to tell you, if I could have cut deeper with that beast, I mean, I had the nut just riding almost right on top of the wood, trying to maximize what I could. But that long 1/4 inch end mill, I mean, it totally saved me when it was cutting out, but it took so long because I mean, I get it. Like when I started running the long bits, I was like, I get it now. Like you cannot run those bits at really high speeds because they are so long. And I mean, they're like ridiculous. And if you turn that sucker up, it could do some serious damage.
yeah, and you run a higher risk of breaking the bit
Yeah.
just because you get there's more deflection on the bit. Um,
Yeah.
okay, here's a question for you, Kate.
All right.
And we're
Oh,
only
I
at
like Alf.
8:16.
Hi, Glenn. So it says, I've been using epoxy for years on tabletops, floors, and odd things, but never for CNC work. What product do you use for outside applications where UV light is a problem? Uh, this is a really good question. I'm going to be really honest. I do not use a lot of epoxy where it's going to be outside. Um, I know I'm pretty sure the epoxy that I do use for deep pour, the Upstart epoxy is the brand that I use, and I believe it is UV like resistant to some degree. I think a lot of the epoxies nowadays they have a UV like resistant component to them, but I'm not honestly 100% sure. Like that's a really good question. So, because most of the work that I do is for like indoor decor, charcuterie boards, um, tables, things like that. So I'm not really like using it like outside or where it's going to be in direct sunlight.
It's a good question to research.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I'll write that
Okay.
down.
So our brother Mark Lindsay has commented about updating the Vectric software and how to do it. So I'm going to quickly share screen because we talked about updating it before.
Yep.
And I'm going to go to, where is it? It's not there. It is open. Cancel. Let's try that again. And well, it's not showing up on my screen for some reason to share. So I'm going to have to close Vectric and reopen it, and I'll show you. In the upper left, well, I'll just wait. Who else you got in the meantime?
So we've had a little chatter. Jack in the shop, they were talking about lasers.
Good.
So Norman Streeter at 820, he is
Yeah.
mentioning Kyle's course. So he says,
Okay.
remember when you strongly recommended the master course for Vectric with Kyle some time back? I've taken the plunge and I'm here to vouch for the course. Very well worth the money.
All right. Well, let's
Awesome.
talk about this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Norman. Okay. So for those of you who are new with design software, the Vectric software, you have not worked with design software and don't understand the foundations of it and how it logically thinks, right? Many of us like to just dive in. We're DIYers. We'll figure it out on the fly. You can't do that with design software because there is a specific process
Yeah.
you have to follow and understand what all the icons do and what have you. And so we create a lot of videos on how to work with the Vectric software. But my argument that I say this quite a bit now is you've invested in a machine and you've put quite a bit of money out for it, a CNC router, to make
Yeah.
projects that you want to look good. Maybe you want to sell them, or make them for family. But at the end of the day, we don't want to struggle doing this. We just want to make some very cool stuff. And
Amen.
right, and we want to have fun doing it. And there's nothing like working through something and then you run into some problem and you don't understand. When what happens when you run into a problem is because you missed something along the way, because we didn't take the time to understand the software. You've invested in the machine,
Yes.
you've invested in the tooling, you've invested your time setting it up, buying the doing the table. Right now, invest in your knowledge to do all this the right way. You've bought the software,
Yep.
now get trained in the software. Kyle Ely at Learn Your CNC is the only person that's put out a full blown course on how to work with the Vectric software.
Yes.
And those of you in this that are watching right now that have actually dived into the software, Norman just said it, and put comments in there. How has that helped you? So
Yep.
I have a link above, and it's always in these threads because this is that important. I have learned. I've learned this from just my business. I have a mentor, and we don't know what we don't know until we're trained, and that works for anything. So
Absolutely.
up above in the Facebook, in the description, is a link to Kyle's website. Go take a look. Down below in YouTube, in the description, is a link to Kyle's website. If you just don't get this stuff, or you're just getting into it and you're looking at the Vectric software and you're deer in the headlights,
Yeah.
get trained, get the right training. You invested a ton of money elsewhere, invest in your knowledge, because this is where everything happens from. Boy,
Yeah. And I will
that was
say too, if you're like want to know a little bit more about the course, I mean, Kyle's website is great. It kind of walks you through what you want, but go over to or here on YouTube, type in Learn Your CNC and go check out his YouTube channel. He has like hundreds of videos, and
oh yeah,
that is just like a small taste of what you will get from the course. Um, and so, ladies, I also have a link over on our Women Who CNC for if you click on the discounts and links there. There's a great link there for the Women Who CNC.
hmm
Use that link, save yourself a little money, and get the course if you're thinking about it. So, you know,
absolutely.
it absolutely. I mean, this is why Garrett and I do what we do. We communicate with these people who do these courses to, help you out, do what we can. So
Yeah,
check it out.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see about the updating. Let's see if it works this time. If it
Oh,
okay,
yes.
okay, there it is. All right, so for the Vectric software, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see some blue text, and it will tell you that there's an update available. And so currently, right now, there's 11.552 that is available for mine. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, it'll tell you the version you are currently on. So I am currently on 11.501, which tells me I am way behind to get my software updated.
Get it together, Garrett. Come on. What's the matter
Yeah,
with you?
I'll put that on my notes. Update Vectric.
I know. Oh, I need to write that down too.
All
All
right,
right.
we're at 90. What are we're at 909, and we're only at 822.
All right. So let's see. So there's a lot of chatter about the 3D printers. Jack and Chris. We've got some new people popping on. Hello, hello to anyone who's just jumping on.
There you go. Okay.
Uh,
Let's see one. You have a Shapeoko Pro from David. You've never worked with CAD CAM until now. You're using Carbide Create. Carbide Create is and Carbide Motion. Okay, that's free software that's out there,
Yep.
put out by Shapeoko. Can I use either software to control my machine or other software? Yes, you can use G-Sender. On a Shapeoko, it's an Arduino-based control machine. You can use G-Sender. I always recommend G-Sender. So much easier to work with.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. It's been a very long day. I was up very early this morning. If you see me yawning, I apologize.
Yeah, we have Triple X Fishing and Adventure. I've never haven't seen you here before, brother.
Yeah, welcome.
Brother or sister? I don't even know. I don't know if it's a brother or a sister.
Yeah, he has a great question though. If you want to pop that up on the screen.
Is that the 1-824?
Yes. I
Oh no,
wonder why no.
go
Oh,
ahead,
go ahead.
Kate.
I wonder why no one has figured out how to mount a sander on a CNC machine. This is maybe the most impactful ways to use programmable repetitive action. Garrett, any ideas?
You
First of
know
all,
who
I'm
you
just
need
going
to
to say
talk
I love
to?
your idea.
Yeah. Who do you think he needs to be talking to? Jack in the shop. Go talk to Jack. He is the inventor of stuff with CNC machines. He took his long mill CNC router and converted it into a plasma cutter. The thing with
Yeah.
having a sander, though, the machine has to. You need to use red Loctite wherever you can on something like that because there's a lot of vibration, right? You need to have rigidity, but I think it's a really cool idea. Got me thinking. How would I mount my sander on my long mill?
Oh, Lord.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It is. I mean, he might be onto something. He needs to figure out how
Yeah,
to make it. He'd be.
we'll have to come up with an orbital sander contraption adapter for the CNC routers.
I mean, they've got lasers, they've got everything else. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If you really challenge me on that one, I can come up with it. But would there be a market need for that?
Oh, I mean, I just literally sat here earlier and told you how long I have to sand one way, like on projects
Right,
back and forth for
right.
10 minutes. Like if I
Well,
could literally,
I was at the AWFS tooling show, and they got big sanding machines there. I'll tell you what, brother.
that is literally like the next big thing that I want for my shop. I either want a, oh God, what is that thing? A sandblaster, like where you
Yeah.
can just put your stuff like,
Mark, answer this question. Okay, if you want to sand with your CNC machine, search for do a YouTube search for CNC random orbit sander and be prepared to enjoy. All right.
okay,
I'm gonna
Mark,
put
we're totally checking that out. Like Garrett and I
yeah,
are both writing that down right now.
random orbit
Okay,
sander.
pop that question back up there because I know other people are probably like, let me screenshot that because I want to know, like, I have to go look that up right now. CNC random orbit sander. Okay.
This ought to be interesting.
Mark, like whoever is going to be, like whoever this video is, we're going to be like sharing the crap out of this all throughout the community. They're going to be like, what happened? Where did my video just blow up overnight?
All right, well, here's somebody just do a search, copy the link, and post it in the comments.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so okay, so here's one from Rich Lawn Jim at 825. He is asking me to show him one of my epoxy projects.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have two that I can show you really quickly.
All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to look for more questions.
Oh,
Brad did a 5 foot river epoxy table this summer.
sweet.
I love epoxy tables.
Oh
Kate
my
is
God.
actually going to be working on making one for me,
Yeah.
so I've
Okay.
commissioned her to do that.
So let me move my chair here. Okay, so this is my most recent one. This is a massive maple bowl that I made. This is an 18-inch round, and this is all live florals.
Oh
It's kind
wow!
of hard to see.
Yeah,
But
tilt it up a little.
it's got some olive wood in here. So basically what I did is I took my 18-inch mold, and you can see like right here, there was literally a bug in here when it was almost cured, and I had to fish it out, and it made like a little gloop. So now I have to go in here and sand this entire thing like a crazy person. Yeah, but then this is the bowl I was talking about when I was hogging out with the beast. And if the beast had been longer, I would have gone down. But that long bit came, I mean, it was like all the way down here. I think I had maybe like an eighth of an inch, but this is like a massive project, and this sucker is heavy. It's probably got about $300 worth of epoxy in it, but it'll have some legs and like a mount that'll hold this, because this sucker is heavy, and I mean heavy.
Yeah. So you used the long 1/4 inch from IDC, right? You didn't use
Yes.
the hog on that.
No, I did use the hog, and I also used, actually, I think it might still. So I used the hog, I used the beast, or I used the beast for like the top part of it, and then I used the hog is when I got deeper down into it. And then I had to use the 1/4 inch end mill for the round, but like this is like the long, I mean, you can see how like, just compared to my like finger, how long this sucker is. I don't,
Yeah.
but
That's the extended length down cut from IDC Woodcraft.
yeah,
That's well. I've got a long 1/8 inch, and the hog. It actually comes as a set as
yes,
well. I'm trying to find it. There it
yeah.
is, right there. I get a lot of people asking for this, so
Hmm.
I ended up putting up a set together. So they could call it the Guitar Maker set, but it's also for just deep projects like what Kate's talking about. So each one of these
Yeah.
bits is available independently. You got the hog, the long 1/4 inch down cutter, and a long 1/8 inch down cutter.
Well, here, let me show you. So like, here's this project here, and I mean,
Oh yeah,
this is
you had to
this
get down
is
in.
this is a little over 2.5 inches. I think it's like 2.6 something. But by the time the bit is actually like in the collet, I mean, it's a pretty lengthy bit. So you have that. But so that's one project. I don't keep a ton of epoxy projects in my shop. Number one is they are usually all custom made and they sell, or they're custom requests. The other one that I do have in my shop I can't seem to part with is my favorite piece. This is some walnut that I did, and this was actually in a mold, and this was all black epoxy. I have some really, really good pigment that I bought from Woodcraft, and it's sort of like 2 drops in your epoxy, and it makes it this like, I mean, just
Wow,
like jet black.
wow, that's some serious.
So
Just a couple of drops, huh?
yeah, like 2 or 3 drops. Let me see if I can find the actual stuff. I've got it over here in my epoxy drawer.
Yeah. I've got an interesting question from Wix as well.
All right,
She's
here it
doing
is.
that. Okay, you coming back?
Yep, just real quick. So it's called Alumilite. It's
Okay.
called Alumilite Black.
Now,
So
Luminolite, is that the brand?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have any
And
links
I
for
like
that?
the Alumilite epoxy as well. This little thing here was $7. But like I said, 2 drops and you get
Okay.
2, 3 drops and you get that
Um,
black
do you
depth.
have that? Do you have a link for that on your website?
I do not, but I can probably pull one up.
Okay.
So I'll
So
make sure to get that
on
added tomorrow.
on Kate's website, Women Who CNC, which is available to everyone, she has
Yep.
she has lots of product links on there to guide you through a lot of the different materials you'll need for different projects. And
Yeah.
also, ladies, for those who are declare themselves as Women Who CNC, she also has a little bit of bling going on there, right? You got the hat that has Women Who CNC on it. I guess you got some aprons as well. And
Yep, we've got sweatshirts, we've got some books, we've got some coffee cups, we've got all kinds of good stuff. If you just look under the Shop Now tab, there's all kinds of really cool stuff. I've actually got I think one of each of my items coming And so I'll be able to kind of show you guys what those look like in live and in person. So I'm really excited to get that stuff hopefully in the next few days, I think. So
All right. Yeah, one of the things when Kate and I were talking was like, yeah, get hats, Kate, get something that because when we identify with a group, right? Women who CNC, I mean that's a group of people, right? That's a group of women who CNC, get that and declare who you are. All right, so
right.
Wix, an unusual question that many people may not understand if they don't understand machining.
Okay.
Um, is there a negative rake face cutter that you use for epoxy? And will that work? Now, do you understand that question?
No.
Okay. So,
Totally transparent here. No, I do not.
right. Well, that's okay. That's a machinist thing. If you're machining, So negative rake and with standard cutters in CNC, we have generally two types of cutters. And we have
Okay.
a forward cutting type of blade that you'll find on your end mills and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
It's got basically a knife blade, and then we have
Okay.
the flat blade, right? When you'll find flat blades or brazed on brazed tooling, right? Where the insert is on there, it's brazed onto a metal body, and that's flat.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's either forward cutting or it's flat cutting, but in this case it's a negative rake, so it's actually so if this is your cut surface and
Mm-hmm.
the cutting, normally like your end mill has a blade that goes like that, it's scraping away material. The
Right.
flat cutters go like that. A negative rake is actually coming in like that.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And so in aluminum and some machining applications, that negative rake is a way to go when you're actually cutting. And here in aluminum, you get a really good finish on it. Right.
Okay.
So I don't know if Kate has never done negative rake on her epoxies. I can't get an answer here, brother.
No, I have not. I'm sorry. I will tell you though, when I did this piece with the black, there were a couple, I don't know if you ever got it uploaded to your website or not, for the ultra smooth surfacing bit that I used for that. I think it had like a 80% step over recommendation. I actually did a 20% step over just to see like what I could get. And I'm telling you, I think I sanded that this black piece for like 5 minutes maybe, and it was like butter. It was so smooth.
So you're talking about the surfacing bits that
Yeah.
I
So when I
yeah.
surfaced it, because I made the step over so small, now again, that was just me like totally doing a test run. It was insanely smooth. I only had to like I said, sand for like 5 minutes, and that epoxy was glowing. I did not have to do anything else to it. Like you can tell that there is literally no there's no gloss, there's no like sheen or oil or anything on here. This is just what that surfacing bit did. It just made it so smooth.
Yeah.
So
So the bit that she's talking about is the ultra smooth surfacing bits that I've put out at IDC. Um,
yeah,
I did a redesign on surfacing bits because most of the surfacing bits that you get out there are built on standard, uh, just industry standards that everybody sets up.
yeah,
And so most of your surfacing bits that are brazed tip are no different from anybody else's. And so what I did was I went to my tooling company and I worked on the angles of the cutting edges. This is the
yeah,
bits here, and added a flute to it and modified it so we can get a much smoother finish on your cut.
yeah,
So that's it's the ultra smooth series that I've put
yeah,
out. That's the only ones I have now.
yeah. It's crazy. And it comes in a really nifty little box that like you can't get open. So
Yeah, no,
did you
I'm
hear me
working
like
on
popping and cracking on? I was like,
yeah, I'm working on coming up with a new container for that because those boxes are hard to get open. But at least you
Well, you
know the
know
thing's
what? The facts are if you drop it, it's not going to break because it's in this
no,
nice
it's
little
not.
secure box. So you're good. Oh, all right.
Okay.
Mark Tracy, hello, hello. What would you consider the best for signs? And have you had experience with synthetic materials for signs? So, my ultimate go-to used to be birch ply for signs. The problem with birch ply is it is a plywood. And so you have to be really careful because if you carve too deep, of course, you're going to get those holes with with carving. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. I used to use a lot of pine, but I got really frustrated really early on with pine, simply because it's such a soft wood. It left fuzzies, it left like extra, it just left extra. That's when I call like my kids are being extra extra. I'm just like, I can't deal with this right now. And that's kind of how I feel like with pine a lot of times. So I really have turned to I use a lot of like PVC. I really like the HDU, like the foam core board that like it's one color and then you can carve into it because it's an outdoor material. It's weatherproof. You can get it in like 5,000 different colors, like for the top layer and the interior layer. And as far as like bigger signs, I really have kind of gone to the hardwoods and then I will just plane them down or run them through the joiner, um, mesh them up, join them up, and then I'll make signs out of that. It's honestly, by the time I paint pine or paint the birch ply, sand it, get the aura mask on it, and then carve it, and then to have it turn out really like, you know, eh, it's just worth it to me to work with the higher quality materials. Plus, what I've also learned from a business standpoint is the higher quality material that you're working with, the more you can get for your project. So if you're just working with a simple pine board and you're trying to charge 75 or 80 to $100 for it, good luck.
Mhm.
Because people can see that the quality of wood is just not there. But when you're working with real um, hardwoods, it just ups the ante like a lot, and you're going to get a lot more out of your business, and then you're not going to have to struggle as much. Plus, if you plane your boards down, you also get the aura mask sticks to it much better, and then you just get a better result in general, and then you're not fighting with aura mask. So just like drop the pine, like just say goodbye, like cut it off. And then the same thing with birch. I've really had a hard time as a sign maker. I worked with birch for years, but going from a vinyl cutter perspective to a CNC, it's just, I mean, if you're doing really shallow carves with like a V-bit or something like that, that's perfect. But if you're trying to do any of actual carve, it's just a huge pain in the butt. So
Yeah.
PVC also, it's great for cutting signs. If you're doing any type of like a layered sign, PVC is fantastic. If you go on my website, Rise and Shine Wood Signs, on my actual business website, you'll see I make big sunflowers. Those are all made out of PVC. So, and an
Okay.
O flute bit. O flute. Make sure you get an O flute bit when you cut that
Okay.
stuff.
And Kate just said something that I wanted to speak to as well, and she talked about buy the better quality stuff, right?
Yeah,
When if you sell, if you make to sell, when you what you want to do is you want to gear towards people who want better quality. They want better
absolutely.
quality stuff. Number one is people who are not are budget constrained. I'm going to use that very loosely. They're the ones that are cheapskates, right? They're going to nickel and dime you. They're going to ask you, "Can you sell it to me for this a cheaper price?" You want to make better quality stuff for better quality customers. The one thing you are going to find is the better the quality of the customer, the less problem they are. Period. Right? So you want to
Absolutely.
create quality products and you want to give quality service. Right? That's the whole foundation of IDC Woodcraft. Right? That's why I
Yep.
get so many emails from companies. Will you show my product? I'll send one to you, and I can tell by the way they're asking me. It's you're begging me. No, no.
Yeah.
I want a company to build a relationship with me. Right? That's quality. Okay.
Yep.
So Shannon said she's here, Kate. So you must have told her, come on. Let's see. She's waiting on her bits and M&Ms to arrive. Yes, you get
Oh,
M&Ms every time you get something from IDC Woodcraft. You get M&Ms with it, except if you order off of Amazon. Unfortunately, I can't put M&Ms in the Amazon packages due to their stinking lousy party pooping food regulations. Go figure.
but you know what? You can buy M&Ms and candy strictly off there, so there must be
Yeah,
something.
so that's what you do. You if you need to buy off M&M, buy off IDC off Amazon. When the package comes in, don't open it yet. Go down to the convenience store, get a bag of M&Ms, and then open up the box. As you open it up, drop the bag of M&Ms in there, and then you can finish opening the box from IDC. And you say, "Yeah, there's my M&Ms."
Or,
That's
you
how
know,
you
what would be
order them.
really fun is buy a big value size bag of them and then throw it in there and then post it in the group and be like, "Oh my God, Garrett must really like me
There
because
we
he
go.
gave me
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big
Wait
value
a minute,
size bag."
Kate. Hold on. People, oh boy, I'll hear it from that one.
Oh,
All right,
I'm
we
just
got to
messing.
get a couple more questions, and I am going to have to knock out early. Not early. We're
Yeah.
at 9:30, so our cutoff time is 9:30. We never ever make it to 9:30. We are always running past. Um,
All right, let's see.
oh, this is a quick one, Tim. He's got all the bits with IDC. The new Vectric update will have your bit library stored in it, so you don't have to individually update. Yeah, the library will carry you into it. And just on
Yeah.
that note, when I do an update, you have to be on I'll announce it, but the best way to know is when I do an update to the library is be on the CNC Insiders list,
Mhm.
right? The CNC Insiders list is my email list. You'll get a bunch of tips there. I will notify you of videos that are coming out. I have some discounts I've acquired that I do not make public to YouTube, right? So if you want to be on the CNC Insiders, that's when you get this, the Kickstarter guide, you're signing up to get that so I can download it. And you'll also get on the CNC Insiders list and you'll have access to all that stuff.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh gosh, let's see. I was trying to think if there was anything else. I think Norman asked a quick question. He was just asked, what is an STL?
Okay.
Um, so your STL files, I'm not sure exactly what it stands for, but those are your 3D models. And I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the gentleman's name that asked me about how to get the 2 0 planes. If you want to shoot me an email at womenwhocnc@gmail.com, I will kind of try to like walk you through that for the 3D carve to get those two um, planes to basically converge and how to do that. So shoot me an email.
I have to say thank you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Joe 3L. All right. Donated
very
$5.
nice.
The mug and M&Ms were a nice surprise. So he probably ordered a router bit set, or if you order over $100, then you get a coffee mug, or you can opt out if you already have one. But and you get your M&Ms. So he was happy about that and gave me a $5 little bonus. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so I see two more things I kind of want to address. One I think is really funny. One is I think this is a really great question to kind of wrap up the evening with. It's Robert Baker at 8:32. Um, he is asking, is there a way to go back into a G code file once you save it?
I'm trying to find
Um,
them. Oh, okay.
I will let you take this one because I know you can.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Oh,
Sure.
I know.
Yes, you
I
can
was
go.
at the end of the
Yeah.
evening.
So you can go back into the G code file. G code file is nothing but a text file. So if it has an extension of TXT, then your Windows Notepad is going to see that. If you have an extension of TAP, right? These are different extensions that your particular CNC machine needs to see, or your control software needs to see. Um, you can still open it with Notepad. So you go into Notepad and you tell Note, and then you go search for the files in a directory wherever you have them. And if it's not a tap file, right, whatever, you can just go in and click. Oh, let's just see if I can show you. I'm not sure I can with the way this StreamYard works.
I think that's a
Maybe.
really good, I think that's something I'm going to talk about tomorrow on our live is organizing files, how to save like G code and
That's a really good one.
yeah.
Okay, so here's one. So you see this A right here. Am I sharing the screen?
Yep, I got you. I see the A.
Okay. Okay. So basically, when you're in this, you can right click and you can say open with, and you can go tell it you're going to open it with WordPad. And when it comes up, and there is the G code file for that that particular file. This is how you can get into your G code files.
Mhm.
So
Okay, very cool. All right, and the last thing I'm seeing, I haven't even gotten to the bottom of the comments, so I'm so sorry, you guys. But it looks like it's GSX at 8:32. He's just a couple down from Robert. This question is killing me. Oh, he says, Kate, Farmers Only has their own dating site. Would you be interested in starting a women who CNC only site? GSX, oh my gosh, you're cracking me up with this right now. Oh my gosh. No, I'm sorry. I do not get into the dating world with other ladies involved. So sorry. You're gonna have to fly solo on that one, my dear
well,
friend.
there you go. You got they have a silver dating site. They've got other kinds of dating
They have
site. Now we have a
everything.
CNC dating site. That's funny.
CNC dating site. Well, I mean, I guess, if you want to meet someone with the same interest, I mean,
That's definitely narrowing it down.
that would be a really good keyword search for your dating profile, for ladies and men if you're looking for one another. Start, CNC or women, men. There you go.
Right.
There's a good tagline for your dating
Yeah,
profile.
your handle can be CNC Rockin' Stud, right? Or for women, it can CNC Rockin', no, babe, whatever. I don't know.
Oh my
I
gosh,
don't know
you're
what the right
cracking me
word
up.
is to use.
All right. I see one last question from Donna. Donna, I see that you're asking about a 3D model. Pop over into the group
Where's she? Oh,
tomorrow, and I will try to address this question in the live tomorrow at 11, and that's Eastern Standard Time. So, all right.
okay. Well,
Well,
ladies and gents, Mark, I saw your comment that you are open to doing that when I get back, get you back on the live. Okay. Yeah. Sorry we couldn't get to the rest of the questions. We love having everybody here and all the talking and all the questions. And it's just not enough time between us to be able to knock them all out sometimes. We try, but doesn't always work out that way.
I know.
All right, brothers and sisters, I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and next to me is my CNC sister, Kate from Women Who CNC. And we will not be here next week. But we will be here the week after that.
2 weeks.
Yep. Have a
See you
good
guys.
day, better tonight, and happy CNC.
Yes.